after marriage, my life was totally different from the previous life. Uh, we both of us were studying. I was 20 years old. My husband was 22 years old, and we were both studying. And after very short time, after a very short span, my husband went into alcoholism. He began consuming almost 3 bottles of liquor, alcohol, without using water. And sometimes he used to beat me and ask for more money. And it was like a usual drunkard family. But even after all this, we both went to college, and outside, everybody knew. I was scared that my friends would see that my husband was an alcoholic, and but I didn't have any other friends other than my husband. He was my only friend. And I would like to share with you some of the incidents in which I believe God took care of me during that time. One of the incidents is when he was taking alcohol. We used to go for treatments for rehabilitation, and on one of those journeys, we were in Ernakulam city, and we took a hotel room and we stayed there. The following morning, we were supposed to go to meet the psychiatrist. And early morning we woke up, and my husband, he already got dressed up, and before I could get dressed up, he dressed up and he left the room. And I knew that he wanted to go and take a drink before going to see the doctor. So I tried to follow him. 2 reasons. One, I wanted to prevent him from growing. The second reason was I was too scared to stay in the hotel room all by myself. But he didn't listen to me. He ran off from the hotel. And I ran behind him. I went to the hotel reception, and I remember I didn't lock the room door. So I told the reception, I lost the room keys. Can you please find it and lock it for me? But they didn't. They said, come with me. We'll search for the key for you. And the hotel boy went in front of me. He went into the room, and he started looking for the keys around the bed and the side tables and the dressing table. And finally he got the key and he gave it to me. And that time I was so scared to stand in a hotel room alone with this hotel boy. Today I remember God must have protected me, because he could have done anything to me, but I was really protected at that time. And he just left the room giving the keys to me. I took the keys, I locked the room, and I went down. My husband was still standing there waiting for an auto rickshaw. And as I ran towards him, he got an auto rickshaw and he left. So I waited for another auto, and I asked the auto man to follow him, and I went behind him. But in the hassle of the morning time, I got lost of him. I got lost, and after some time, I found I just presumed that he must be in front of one of the bars, and I got off the auto and I started looking around. I found the bar. And I walked towards the bar. I was again so scared to go into a bar. In Kerala, you never find a woman or a girl walking towards a bar. It's a place only for men. And I went to the front of the bar, and I stood there and I looked inside, and I peeped inside the hotel. Attender, I don't know who. One man came out and he asked me, "What do you want?" And I said, "My husband must be inside. I came to look for him." Then he said, "Wait, I'll go and look." And he went inside and he came back and he said, "Yes, there's a fat man sitting inside and drinking." And I said, and he described, and I understood, that's my husband. I said, "That's my husband." Then he said, "You wait outside. He'll come out." So I stood there in front of the bar, and it was so humiliating. I can still remember. I was praying that nobody from my hometown should see me standing there, and I prayed all the time. And this was the most humiliating incident I had in my life, to stand in front of a bar. And after half an hour, my husband came out. We went for the treatment, and that was it. During one of these treatments, my sister-in-law, my Sunil's elder sister, she advised me. She was the one who used to come with us for the treatments. She advised me to go and meet one of her friend who lives in Thrissur in North Kerala, and to stay with her for some time. So Sunil and I went to this friend's house and visited her, and she was very welcoming. She was a very holy woman. She is the Archbishop's sister. We went and stayed there for some time, and when we were staying there, she told me, "Can you come with me to meet one of my colleagues?" She was a professor at a college in English literature, and she said, I would like you to come and meet one of my colleagues. She's a counselor, and she's also a nun. She might help you out of this problems you have now. And next morning when she went to college, she took us along with her, and we met this nun who was a counselor, and she prayed with us for some time. She opened the Bible, and this is what we got: Jesus getting baptized from John the Baptist, and the heavens, and John the Baptist witnessed that he saw the heavens open, and the Holy Spirit coming down in the form of a dove, and the voice of God saying that, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." So this is the message we got from God that day. And after reading this, she said, "Why don't you go and have a one-day prayer session in one of the churches nearby?" And so the following morning, according to her advice, we went to Pota Ashram, and we had a one-day prayer. It was a Saturday, and we were really surprised to see it was like around thousands of people praying together in a church, and it was so different for us. Because we have never been to a prayer like that, and I liked it, and the praise and worship, and the priest calling out for miracles happening, and people witnessing the miracles, testifying it was true, and we believed everything. And then we came back, and this my sister-in-law's friend, I called her Mary Auntie. Mary Auntie told me, you go and attend one week retreat at another place where they conduct retreats for families. So the following week, my husband and I together, we went and had a retreat. The retreat was not. I didn't like the retreat very much. It was mainly classes. They were giving different classes for families, and about the church and things like that. But I didn't like it at all. It didn't help me or my husband at all. And after the retreat, what struck me most is I got a message which said, "I'll give you the message." It's a word from the gospel where Jesus says, "I will give you peace, not like the world gives you." But it was a message from God, and it's a promise from God. So from then onwards, I know from the life that even though my husband was drinking, I was at peace. I didn't have any problem that he was drinking, because it was not because Jesus was helping me, or because I knew Jesus was helping me, but there was peace in my life. 2 years after our marriage, my husband finished his studies, and his parents decided to send him off to the Middle East to find a work. It was not mainly to find a work, but just to send him off from home so that he would stop drinking, or maybe because they thought that in Middle East he will get less alcohol. But he went to Middle East, and he still continued drinking, and he was even caught by police once for drinking and sleeping on the streets, and he was put in the prison. And my parents called me up, and they told me it's very humiliating that your husband should be in the prison, and they all thought that my life was like it was gone, and there was no way of coming out of it. And during my final, and when he went off to the Middle East, I was all alone in my college, and I was staying alone. And during this time, I went into the library. The only place I went to the library. I took out books. I went home and read till the early hours of the morning.